apologies, I'm a little late. I met Swami Viditatmananda walking, and so that delayed me by a few minutes. Swamiji will actually take satsangs tomorrow and the next day. So 2 days he will be here, Tuesday and Wednesday. And so I just wanted to announce that. I just wanted to ask you, there are a few places that you must visit before you go back, and I don't know if you've done it or not. So I would mention 4 things that require to be in your bucket list. One is the walking trail. If you haven't done so, I would urge that you do that today, because it may rain tomorrow and you may not have a chance to do so. So this afternoon, it is really a beautiful, I just came from there. I had a half-hour walk, and you must do that. You must see that, number 1. Number 2, the bookstore. So I hope that, I think it is open most of the time, maybe off for lunchtime or something, I don't know. But spend a good time just looking around, and it's a treasure, number 2. Number 3 is the library of rare books, which is also in that, I can't tell you exactly, it's in this direction here, close by. So you'll find it. So stop by there and just get a glimpse of all the books that are, that's for the issues we have, is that we don't really keep our books very well. But here I think we've done a fairly good job. So please do that. Number 3. Number 4, there is a store that sells handicraft things from India. It's called Desiya. And if you have not seen it, then you stop by and look at it to see if you have something there. Anyway, those 4 things you must do. Okay. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So one quick thing I wanted to mention is the pronunciation of Shanti, the 3 Shantis. I'm not an expert in this, but I just follow the directions. So it's very interesting. For most of the verses, shlokas and mantras, and I think that there is an arrangement for a class on chanting that is being, I think Surendra is arranging that. So you will get a little bit more understanding of that. But just very quickly, for most of these shlokas, like this one that we just did, the Shanti starts with high to low. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. And in the end, there is a pronunciation of Visarga, which is an aspiration. So it becomes Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. So this he is the Visarga. So that's the normal pronunciation. But in the case of Purnamadam, Purnamidam, it reverses. So it becomes, instead of saying Shan, I don't know if you've noticed it or not, most people don't, but if I pronounce that at the end of Purnamadam, Purnamidam, instead of saying Shanti, it becomes Shanti, Shanti. So it starts low and goes up high. So we will do that, you will notice it. I just wanted to mention that to you. Okay, let's go into the main text now. And by the way, I understood, Sudhakar was the one who told me about this, that there is a newer version of this book, that the page numbers are slightly different, just a one or two page number. And in fact, in one case, instead of I, Swamiji has substituted we, but most of the language is the same, but there is a slight difference between them. And I think that if you have this kind of a cover, that's the first printing, and if you have a different kind of a cover, that it's a second printing. And I don't know how many of you have that. You all mostly have this. Yeah. Sudhakar has this new one. Anybody else has the newer one? Yeah, so that's right. Asha has it, and so it'll be slightly different, okay, in terms of the page number. But essentially, I would say most of it's exactly the same. Okay, so with that, let's turn to page in the old one, 211. On page 211, you have the entire Upanishad together at one place, including the Shanti Mantra. Right? And so you can see that the Upanishad consists of 24 mantras. And so one difference you should know, that's why I'm making it a somewhat of a more general class, that you should know the difference between mantra and shloka. Both refer to Sanskrit passages that are, generally speaking, poetry, not prose. I don't know if there's any exception. I would say probably there's some prose vakyas are also could be called mantras and shlokas, but generally they're all poetry. And the difference is that the Shruti vakyas are called mantras and Smriti vakyas are called shlokas. Yeah, stotram is a different thing. Stotram means stuti. So stuti means praise. So that's a different dimension. Shlokas can be stuti, cannot be or may not be stuti. So that's a different segmentation. But I'm talking about a more basic nature of what is mantra, what is shloka. So in Bhagavad Gita, for example, you cannot say mantra, you'll say shloka. But in this is in Upanishad, so here the passages are called mantras. So there are 24 mantras in this Upanishad, Kaivalya Upanishad. Okay, one quick mention about the word Kaivalya. So sometimes these Upanishads have names that are they don't follow a set pattern. There is something that characterizes them. Like Kena Upanishad means, Kena in Sanskrit means by who. So the name of the Kena Upanishad is by who Upanishad. And it refers to the very first word in the mantra, Kene Shitam Patitam Manaha. By which does the mind fall? By whose control does the mind work? A beautiful analysis. So there the first word defines the name of the Upanishad. Here the name Kaivalya means Kevalasya Bhava. Kevalasya Bhava iti Kaivalyam. Kevalasya Bhava means the sense of being the only one. Bhava means the the meaning, the sense. Uh, so the quality of it, the quality of being alone is called Kaivalya. Being alone is called Kaivalya. The quality of being alone is called Kaivalasya bhava or Kaivalyam. This is a tadhita in Sanskrit. It makes sort of Kaivala, it becomes Kaivalya. So Kaivalya means the an Upanishad that characterizes Kaivalyata, this singularity of things. Very important and very appropriate word. It really means Advaita. It means Advaita. So if I can just pause and give you a little bit of a commentary on that. So, Ekam. Ekam means one. And Swami Akhandananda has really spent a lot of time discussing this. He had several places. He's very favorite of his, so comes up again and again. So if you see the word one, and what is one? So one meaning, one which is present in everything. Like for example in 5. Is 1 present in 5? Of course. 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1. So it appears 5 times in 5. So the 1 appears as the fundamental of everything. Okay? Now, 1 and 2 are different. 2 means 2 and 1 means 1. Even though 2 consists of 2 ones, but at least from the standpoint of transactions, it is different. Okay? It's called, this is what is called Samanadhikaranyam. Very interesting word, technical word, but here's the meaning of Samanadhikaranyam. Means that for transaction purposes, 1 is different from 2. Supposing you tell somebody, give me 2 oranges, and that person gives you 1. He says, no, I want 2. You gave me only 1. So it's very clear that 1 is different from 2. So that's called Samanadhikaranya. Means that they have the same degree of reality. Okay? This is what it is. In Advaita, Vedanta, 1 is followed by Advayam. Ekam Advayam. So there is a 1 which is not the fundamental one for everything. In fact, it is the everything. And so this is what is called Badhita Samanadhikaranyam. So it's a very technical word. What it means is 1 without a second. How can there be a 1 without a second? This is what we have to think about. You are the 1 without a second. But because of your confusion and your ignorance, you think you are only 1 out of million, billion, trillion. Your sense of who you are is based on a wrong understanding of 1. That's it is. In fact, you are 1 without a second. How can that be? How can there be? Is there something 1 without a second? Yes, there is. This is Brahman. This is Paramatma. And you are not other than that. In fact, the very definition of Paramatma, this is the difference between, look at it from a mathematical standpoint, the difference between a very large number and infinity. In mathematics also there is infinity. And the definition of infinity is not finite. So, as we were discussing Rolando's question, what is the difference between limited and unlimited? Infinity is unlimited. A specific number is limited. Infinity is not a very large collection of numbers. It is infinite. It is infinite. I think I've told you, many of you in my classes, all these things come to me in my... So when I met Swami Dayananji for the first time, I can vividly recall, this was in Arcata, in the... what is it called? It's called the Humboldt State College. And so Swami Chinmanand was supposed to come, everything was arranged, and he could not come, and Swami Dayanandaji came. And so we were somewhat disappointed. We were expecting Swami Chinmanand, and we were all looking at him and so on. I remember this so well. And he was very impressive in the very first class because he never sat down. He was walking around talking. So I said, this is an unusual Swami. So that was interesting. Anyway, he was there for 1 week. And so, already I was very attracted to his talk, his personality and so on. But then, I had a chance to, approach him and introduce myself. I'm Vijay Kapoor. And so he says, oh, good to meet you. What do you do? And I was talking about that. And then we had a satsang out in the garden. Okay? I think it was right after lunch, or maybe we had, I can't remember, we had picnic packed in or something. So there we had an informal satsang. And I asked him a question which was bothering me because my dad used to give me this question, and I could never give him a satisfactory answer. His question was, my dad's question was, this is when I had been following Swami Chinmanand for 2 years. So my dad was also thinking, here comes another sannyasi who's going to leave the family. So he was trying his best to say, this is all bunkum, don't worry about it. Just concentrate on your family and work and all that. Don't do all this stuff. So I was just, I wasn't argue with him, but I would just quietly say, let me figure it out. And so his question was, listen, it all doesn't make any sense. So I said, why? He says, you're saying that when a person attains moksha, he or she ceases to be. So I says, yeah, he ceases to be means you're not as a human being, or you're just gone somewhere. So I said, yeah, that's true. He says, there is a flaw in the whole argument. That means slowly the population must be going down. Because everybody is getting moksha after a while. It might take you millions of years, but doesn't matter. It should be, there is a finite population in the world, and slowly you have moksha, and slowly it should be diminished. It's just the opposite, especially in India. In India, there's no question of population going down. It just keeps on increasing. So he says, what is this Vedanta business? It doesn't, the facts don't do that. So I asked Swamiji, I said, Swamiji, my father asked me this. So what's the truth about this? So then I remember every word for word I remember. So he said, are you an engineer? I said, yes. He says, what kind of So I said, computer science. So he says, you have done masters? I said, yes. He says, do you know the concept of infinity? I said, yes. He says, the number of people in this world is infinite, not large. My God, I said, of course. The number of people that take moksha is also infinite. This is the reason Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnat Purnasya Purnam eva avishishyate. The beginning also is infinite. You take out infinite things out of it, and what remains out of, supposing you subtract infinity from infinity, shouldn't you have zero? The result is infinity. Infinity is not measurable. Absolutely infinite. So this is my guru. That is the point. Third day, I think, second or third day I met him, I said, this is the person. Swami Chinmayananda never explained that to me. I don't know even I asked him that question or not. Maybe I didn't. He knows all this. It's not as though. But sometimes it is just and same thing, I really appreciate Swami Akhandananda's style of teaching. It's the same truth. He's made it even clearer to me than Swami Dayanandji. So what can I do? It's just a way of doing it. So going back to Kaivalya. Kaivalya means the truth of one without the second. How can that be? How can there be one? Because I see a number, I see lots of people. How do I count for it? How is it that I am the only one and everybody else doesn't count? Which is the truth. Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya. So it means, this is what we are going to see. Everything that you see is your reflection. It is not you, but your reflection. If you go to these fancy gyms, especially the restrooms, the men's rooms, they have all very tricky. So their men's rooms and ladies' rooms, I suppose, are all very small, but they make it look big by having mirrors on the walls. And what happens is, especially if there are mirrors that are on both sides kind of angular, you see 19 or lots of different images of yourself. And you wave your hand this way, everybody waves their hand. Are there 19 people? There's only one person, and the appearance of everybody else is many. Same thing is true. When we see the reality, in fact, this is what you need to see. It's not as though after you see the reality, then this will appear to you. You first have to see that that's how the reality will appear to you. Is that everything else is important, but not as important as reality of yourself. Kaivalyam, Kevalasya bhavam, Advaitam, Ekam Advaitam means that one is the truth and everything else is just a lower level of reality. Like in the case of the reflection in the gym mirrors, it is true. It's true mean it looks like you. You do like this, that everybody on your reflection will also do like this. It does. There's a certain reality to it. But is it the same reality? It cannot be. If you're hungry, you cannot feed your reflection and become non-hungry. You have to feed yourself. So this is what we have to see. Dream again. In the dream, you have a lot of others. Lots happening. A lot of people bother you. I don't know, it's in my career, my feeling was that I am pretty good at what I'm doing, but somehow not good enough. And I felt okay with it because I was spending a lot of time with diverting my attention to Vedanta. Oh, I'd never really had the commitment to be the best at what I do. I was just okay with whatever I do, and as long as I don't lose my job, I keep getting promotions and so on, that was okay with me. But the result of it was a feeling, which is true, that I wanted to be better than what I am, but I was not really capable of getting to that point. In my dream, I get the same thing. Even last night, for example. It's just a recollection of my life. In the dream, just I think last night or a couple of nights ago, I'm going somewhere and there's a bunch of people and they're saying, well, where are you taking us? So I'm saying, I think we should go this way. And they're saying, well, I'm not sure that we believe you. I think we'll follow you, but... So I'm thinking, this is in my dream. I'll tell you, this is very all important stuff. Because in your dream, you have your own thoughts. In the dream. And in my thinking is, why don't they believe in me? And it's a reflection of the fact that in my own life, I really had a feeling that they are right, I should be doing better. I remember this one time, I was just giving you some personal anecdotes just to see this. There was a big conference in Las Vegas at one time. And so I was supposed to arrange for a speaker out of my own... so I had a new boss who didn't know me very well, and he was testing me and so on. And so he says, please arrange for this talk. So I was arranging for it and so on. And so the speaker set that I had arranged, there was one guy who was really important that I didn't get time to invite him to be a speaker. Mostly because I didn't think he would even come. So I didn't invite him. My boss was not happy. Why didn't you... I said, I didn't get time. He said, why didn't you have enough time? He was an important speaker. You should have invited him. You invited his assistant. So I felt somewhat guilt. And in my dreams, I have a recurring same thing. This incident where somebody saying, I think we are in the right direction you're taking us, but I'm not sure. And I'm thinking, why are they doubting me? Is this good enough? I'm thinking of that in the dream. But in the dream, look at it. It's a reality in the dream that I have other people who are criticizing me, doubting me, and I'm saying, why are they doubting me? They should not be doubting me. They're all in the dream. Swami Akhandananda has this passage in the Brahmasutra Bhashya. This is really a fact. This is a phenomenal... he has written a biography of his life where he's met all these people and Mahatmas and other scholars and so on. Fascinating, really. He recounts this. So, there was in Varanasi a Pandita, not a Swami, but a Pandita, who is an expert in some tarka, some Sankhya tarka. He was an expert. He could out-argue anybody. This is a fact this is in real life. And he was very proud of it, and he could never really never be defeated in any arguments or anything. He always knew exactly what logic to use. One day he came to Swami and he said, Swamiji, I had a dream where somebody defeated me. And I am devastated even though it is a dream. I don't understand why this had to happen to me. That means I must have had some doubt in my mind. That's why in my Jagrat Avastha I could not bring that doubt up. But in the dream, that doubt came up and I was devastated. He says, I'm very upset. Swamiji solved his problem. Because he was not a Swami, he was a Pandita. He had not really understood Vedanta. Swamiji said, my dear fellow, don't you see that the person who defeated you in your dream is also you? This Pandita said, oh my God, thank you. Thank you, sir. He was, he was not a scholar in Vedanta, but he could see this. How long does it take for him to see this? This is why they say that the dream example is so important. You can, if there is a mature person, a really mature person, and if you give this example, they'll say, oh my God, you're right. This is a fact. What we are, this is a huge dream. Huge dream. It's a dream. It's maybe a huge dream, but it's a dream. And so therefore, there is no other than you. The other than you is a reflection which has a lower level of reality. And even in this course in the next 5-6 days, I'll try to prove it to you why you have a higher degree of reality than the world that you see. And if you see that fact clearly, you will see the meaning of the word Kaivalya. Kevalasya bhava. Ekam advitiyam, O alone. It's a matter of understanding. It's not a matter of experience. We are misinterpreting our experience. That's all that is happening. This is a fact. This is Vedanta. So that's the word Kaivalyam. This is what I was thinking, that I'll just, when there's something came up, I'll just explain it so that you can get a meaning of that. Okay, so 24 mantras. And lots of good material. I will, let's see, in my notes, I wanted to communicate something that, let me make sure that that's still. Well, I don't know where it is, but I think I'll say it anyway. Okay, so this is so we have 20 minutes. I think that's enough to talk about this concept. So here's another important concept. One that you already know. What is the meaning of Advaita Vedanta Sampradaya? That really dukkha is due to ignorance. That's the basic concept that we talked about. Here's another important concept. There are two ways of finding something so that you feel better. Two ways of acquiring, let's say acquiring something, of possessing something. One way is what you are trying to possess is not with you. And our life is full of that. Right? So, all kinds of things. Like supposing you're hungry. So you need food which is not with you, which is not in you. You have to go to the kitchen and you have to put food, eat it. This is a typical example of acquiring something which you do not have. Another one is going to Sailorsburg from the west coast. You are not in Sailorsburg, but you need to find a way to get here, to approach here. You take a plane, you take some cars, whatever, and you get here. So you acquire the ability to be in Sailorsburg by doing some things that bridge the gap between what you need and where you are, what you are. You are either hungry, you need to be full, you are in West Coast, you need to be in Sailorsburg, whatever it is. So, this in Sanskrit is called apraptasya praptihi. Praptihi means acquisition, gain. Praptihi. Prakarshena aptihi. So ap means to envelop, to be one with. And prakarshena means the very certainly. You're not thinking of food, you are actually eating food. You're not thinking of Sailorsburg, you are actually getting there. You're taking concrete steps to be there. So this is what is called apraptihi. And what kind of prapti? Apraptasya praptihi. Apraptasya means of one which is not with you. It is called apraptasya. Right? Apraptasya prapti. This is what our life is full of. This is one kind of prapti. Now, let me ask you this. This is how Swami Akhandananda poses this question. It's beautifully well done. He says, you are trying to find the self, the Atma. Atma means your own self. Why? Because it has now been somewhat proven, not explained in detail yet, but somewhat proven that you are ignoring it. This is what is the matter of saying you are taking incomplete inventory. You are accounting for everything else except for who you really are. So that means that you do not have the praptihi of the Atma. Right? Praptihi. So now the question is, your own self, what kind of apraptasya praptihi it is? What kind of? Because it is Atma is apraptaha. It is not acquired. I don't have a very good understanding. I don't feel fulfilled. What they say is once you know the Atma, then you are completely fulfilled. As we were talking about psychotherapy, then there is no problem whatsoever. You're done. But I'm not at that place. So it is apraptaha. So the question is, what kind of an apraptasya praptihi? So now, given these two kinds of prapti, the second one, is it not reasonable that it is not apraptasya praptihi, it is praptasya praptihi? An acquiring of something that is already there but not acquired. Feeling of not acquired, isn't it? Because Swami Khanananda points out, can you be ever away from yourself? This is the right way of looking at it. We will look into this in more detail. That you can never, no matter where you are, you are. At what time you were, you were. At what time in the future there will be, supposing you want to go to heaven. Who's going to go to heaven? You. So you are already there. Then you are surrounded with heaven. That's a separate thing. But you are never separate from yourself. You can never be separate from yourself. Never. There's one thing that you cannot separate. You know, there was this story about this guy that goes to Parameshwara, God, and said, I understand you have complete powers to do anything. This is you are Sarvashaktiman, Sarvagyaha Sarvashaktiman. You are so powerful you can do anything. He says, yep, that's me. You're right. I'm Bhagavan, I'm Ishvara. He said, sir, anything you can, whatever I ask for? He says, yep, ask for it, done. He says, sir, can you give me a head? So he says, say that one more time. He says, sir, a very simple question, don't you understand? Give me a head. Ishvara said, oops, that's something I cannot do. He says, what kind of an Ishvara are you? You told me that you can do anything, and the first question I asked you, you cannot do it. This is very strange. So Ishvara said, if you want a second head, I can give it to you. But you already have a head, my dear. I've already given it to you. So all I can point out is that you already have it. I cannot, unless I completely kill you and start all over again. You don't want me to do that? He says, no, I don't want you to do that. You already have a head. So you can never get rid of yourself. This is a very important thing. This is not something to laugh about. We are going to discuss this in more, I'm going to keep saying it, we're going to discuss it, and by that time it will be next Saturday, and then we'll say, come to the retreat next year. This is going to happen. I can see this already. But anyway, I'm postponing it so that I don't put it all on the same time at you. This is a very important thing. So, the quest for the self, can it be apraptasya prapti? And the reason we say that is because all this is very important. For apraptasya prapti, what is the most important ingredient to be successful in acquiring things that I don't have? Karma, action, isn't it? Different kind of actions. If it is just going to the food, then it just means picking up your shoes and walking to the kitchen. Action. If it is going to Sailorsburg, it requires more work. We have to make group reservations, which I'm not sure we're going to do this again. I think that we probably should forget about group reservations from next time. It's more problem than not. But anyway, you have to make, Anandi has to do all this work, and then you have to pay money, action, karma, lot of karma. So the basis of all this life is full of karma, action. All because of what? Because of apraptasya prapti. That I want to acquire something that I don't have. So this is exactly what happens. You just look at yourself and say, where am I? What am I doing at this point? You just close your eyes and answers become very evident. You are either hungry, or you are thirsty, or you don't have enough money, or you don't have enough pleasure. Somehow you need to do things that are giving you more. This is what is artha kama dharma. The whole thing is artha kama dharma. And even moksha. Moksha also there you can say this is apekshika moksha. Apekshika moksha means that relative moksha. So this is what the earlier part of the Vedas, which we haven't discussed yet. So the karma part of the Vedas is apekshika moksha, means you will get moksha but not right now. You keep on doing yagas and so on and so forth, homas and so on. Later on you might get some moksha. That is also karma based. You have to do a lot of prayers and yagas and all kinds of things. So the very basis of apraptasya prapti is what? Karma. And for the karma you need some jnanam, you need some knowledge, isn't it? So to come to Sailorsburg you need the knowledge. Who flies there? What is the fare? Is there enough seats? All those kinds of things have to be done. And I'll just interrupt myself. This is for Anandi. So you remember I was telling you that I want to be on a aisle seat. Okay? So I actually went to the United website and I said I want to look at my seats. Message was, you are in a group, you cannot do that. There's one very smart lady in this group that bypassed it. You know who that is? Mala Chandra. You know what she did? She also got the same message. She bypassed it. She called them directly and said, I want to change my seat and I want to do this. They said, sure, no problems. This is so interesting. Karma. I gave up and she didn't. Luckily, I actually did get an aisle seat because I have to go to the bathroom 3 times in 5 hours for sure. So she got pre-TSA. That's another thing. Yes, she got a pre-TSA. Very smart person. I should learn from her. Next time you do all the arrangements for everybody. Karma, all karma. But in self-acquisition, so there is karma primary and jnanam secondary. That was what my point was. I forgot about that. Karma is primary, jnanam is secondary. What my knowledge is for the sake of doing the right karma, isn't it? But in terms of self-knowledge, it is already you. You're not going to be any better than what you are. This is not apraptasya prapti, it is praptasya prapti. Fortunately, there is a thing called praptasya prapti. When you have keys in some pocket and you don't know it, karma is secondary, knowledge is number one. Somebody has to tell you, this, your keys are in such and such pocket. You know my famous story that I have given. I must have told this many, many times. This is an actual happening. So I was going to Tokyo carrying a group of people, and one of them was a very senior sales manager, Indian guy, a friend of mine. And we were both sitting there, and just because before we reached Tokyo, we filled out all the forms. And in order to fill out forms, you have to have your passport number. Who remembers passport numbers? So you look at you take your passport out, you put all the numbers in, and then you're ready, and it says, okay, now we are going to reach the Tokyo airport. So we were standing in a line after we got off the plane, and this was winter time. And so he was wearing this REI jacket with 16 pockets. If I can give you one advice, never buy an REI jacket with more than 2 pockets, please. I think, Rolando, what you have is just enough. More than that. Yeah, don't do that. So fortunately this guy, because it was very cold and he had this jacket on and so on, all of a sudden he says, oh my God, I don't have my passport. I says, you just had it. Half hour ago we were doing it, he was sitting next to me. He says, I must have left it there because I can't find it. Losing a passport out of the country is not an ordinary method, not an ordinary thing. Now we start thinking about it. What are we going to do? What should we do? We have to go to the American embassy. There's, and this, all kinds of things. And then, very interestingly, the thing that I remember it so well, I think when this happened, we were in our early 40s. Because I think maybe late 40s, I don't know. I'd finished my PRC course, and I came back and rejoined Hewlett-Packard. And he was a very confident man, a very accomplished person. He was a district manager of a Hewlett-Packard sales office, a number of people and so on. He broke down. Oh, I'm so stupid. This keeps happening to me. I don't know why, when will I learn? This is so bad. Here's this 45-year-old man crying next to me. So I said, I won't take his name. So I kept telling him, it's okay, we'll figure it out. Don't worry about it. This, that, or the other. No, this. Suddenly, something came into me. I looked at his REI jacket. I said, do me a favor, okay? Stand here and put your arm like this. Like this, okay? So I started with pocket number 1. Nothing. So I'm getting discouraged now. Pocket number 2. I don't know if it was the 3rd or the 4th. It was sitting there. And, but it's very interesting, his expressions, because I remember this vividly. Whole thing so vividly. His expression after he found out was such embarrassment. You won't believe this. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I said, it's okay, our line is moving. Let's go, don't worry about it. We'll do this later on. He says, so sorry. I remember There was one satsang with Swami Dayanandji where I even remember the people who asked this. They asked Swamiji, Swamiji, when you figured this all out, how did it feel? And I remember his answer so well. Swamiji said, you may think that I have a feeling of accomplishment. I did it. No. You know what the feeling I have? Is the same feeling that my friend had. Embarrassment. My gosh. I tried to do so many things, bothered so many people. I didn't have to. I got angry at people. I had feelings for them. Why? Unnecessarily. I'm sorry. It's a feeling of embarrassed feeling of embarrassment. That was the thing of it. So in the case of praptasya praptihi, it is not karma which is important, jnanam is important. You have to do some karma, like you have to do this third one, second one, you have to look at this. But it's there with you. You don't have to go anywhere. You're not hungry. You're already there. This is what it is. So very first verse that we will see underscores this point. So we will look into that. Om Asato Ma Satgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om